Hello friends, welcome back to Carla's Kitchen. Today is anything but a scratch made day. It's just a quick and easy way to make a frozen pizza taste better. So what I normally do is I have a preferred brand that I get, and again, since we have folks who like meat and folks who don't living under the same roof, what I do is I wait for the cheese version of the pizza, if possible multiple cheese, cheese trio or 4 cheese, whatever your brand of choice has available. When those go on sale to be $3-4 a piece, I'll stock up on those, and they keep in the freezer for a little while. But while affordable, they're not really palate pleasing in my opinion until you do a few things to them. So what I've got today is I've already put tinfoil down on my pizza tray. I've got some pepperoni, grated Parmesan, shredded mozzarella, garlic salt, Italian seasoning, red pepper flakes, olive oil. I've got chopped up oven roasted garlic. I've got chopped up fresh basil from the garden, and I've chopped up some tomatoes. The tomatoes, I use what I have basically, so you can slice up or dice up cherry tomatoes if you have them, little salad tomatoes. You can do plum or Roma style tomatoes. Today what I had available were slicing tomatoes because we had BLTs recently. So I still had some leftover tomato slices, so I went ahead and just diced up a few of those. It doesn't really matter, go with your preference or what you have on hand. This is a way to use up some leftover ingredients as well that otherwise might get thrown out. So first step, I'm going to roll through pretty quickly here. I'm going to actually just spray olive oil. If you don't have a sprayer, just drizzle it and spread it around. You can use like a pastry brush or your hand. Either way, I'm going to spray it around roughly in the shape of the pizza that I'm putting down. And then I'm going to go in with garlic salt and just do a light sprinkling, because the pizza should taste good from top to bottom, so this is going to flavor the crust for you. Then I'm actually going to just go ahead and put the pizza down onto the area I've just seasoned, and my oven is preheated and ready to receive this delicious dish once we're finished here. Next thing I'm going to do is put down some of the pepperoni. And again, if you prefer sausage, go with sausage. If you buy a pizza that already has the meat on it, more power to you. I personally find that, sorry for the racket while I'm talking. I personally find that the pepperoni, if you get meat, particularly pepperoni, already on your pizza, it's not as good when it's frozen and reheated, and it's usually a different quality than you might pick up on your own on the side. So I like to go ahead and just get some pepperoni with my pizza. You can chop it up and put it in a salad to have a little extra protein in your salad. You can make some other type of appetizer with cheese and crackers if you want, so it's not like it's going to go to waste, at least not around here. Go ahead and layer on your meat of choice, as thin or as thick as you would like it, covering the pizza. Again, I'm just going in half here because some of us eat meat, some of us don't. So it is okay if you overlap them. They do shrink up when they're cooking, and it's up to you how much you like. I like to have more than, the other thing about you buy a pepperoni pizza, there's like 1 or 2 slices, pieces of pepperoni per slice. And for me, that's just not enough. So I'm going to go here, and I'm aiming to only cover half. I'll check my line here in a minute. I think those are a little over, so we'll scooch them back a little bit. And I'm going to go in heavy. I really like, as I said, to have several bites of pepperoni on my slice. So I'm going to overlap here just a little bit. Make sure that there's enough. And sometimes when you cut through the pizza, once one slice gets the whole pepperoni, somehow it hops from one side to another. So if you put plenty on there, then you're guaranteed to have enough in the bite that you're after. Okie dokie. Done with the pepperoni. I'm going to set that off to the side. Next, I'm going to go in with some mozzarella cheese. If you prefer a shred of, mozzarella provolone mix, that's pretty good as well. If you have provolone slices, you can throw those down on one or both sides of the pizza. I actually do have that, I just didn't get them out today. So we're gonna roll with what we have out on the counter and save those slices for a sandwich down the road. I'm just breaking up the shreds here so they're not too lumpy on one spot. But I do cover the pepperonis a little bit. That also helps to hold them in place. Okay. And again, like everything I do, I know, I keep telling you guys, as heavy or as light as you like. Okay. And now before I do the parm, I'm going to come in with some of the other ingredients. I like a little bit of red pepper flake on mine. So I'm just going to go on the pepperoni side and just sprinkle a little bit. I'm going to go over the whole thing with a little more garlic salt on the top side. And if you're worried about salt, you can go garlic powder. You don't have to have the salt. I like the dimension that it adds. And I'm going to do just a light bit with the Italian seasoning today because I actually had fresh basil available. It is growing season and I'm growing it in my garden, so I went out and got some. Okay, and I always crumble that up so it's finer so you don't get a big mouthful of, too much flavor. Okay, and I'm going to come in with the diced garlic, sprinkle that around. I just diced up some garlic that I had in the fridge from roasting in the oven. That's why some of the pieces are a little bit darker. Just the roasting process. And if you don't like that much garlic, you don't have to add the fresh. It just adds a different dimension, particularly since it's roasted in the oven, than any of the powdered dried spices. Again, my opinion, we all have those. So looks like the cheese side is pretty well coated. I'm going to go in on the pepperoni side and add some garlic as well. Now I'm going to go in with the basil, and I didn't keep the leaves whole. I did roughly chop them so that, again, it's not a whole mouthful of this huge flavor. Fresh basil really does have a strong flavor to it. So, just know your spices, and you can smell it as you're handling it and cutting it up. All you have to do is touch it and you can smell it. So go as heavy or as light as you like with all of the ingredients. The point is we're adding lots of different types of flavor here, as long as we're staying with flavors that complement one another and flavors that you like. The pizza is going to be much better than if you just took it out of the freezer and threw it on a sheet pan and threw it in the oven. In little pieces. And make sure we're just covered well here. Take one more piece over here. That looks pretty good to me. And then I'm going to go in lastly with the tomato pieces. This way, the cheese side of the pizza has a little bit more texture and flavor to it. And it's not just cheese. And again, the heavier as light as you like on these things. I'm just randomly putting them around. I'm trying to actually picture the slices as I go. I know, overthink much? Just to make sure, each slice is going to have some of that flavor on it. Don't be afraid to put things out by the edge either. You're going to eat the whole slice. You want the flavor everywhere. It looks like a bare spot right there to me. And I'm going to slide one more over here. That looks pretty good. If you want to do, you can put some on the meat side as well. There's just quite a lot over here. But it'll all still cook. Really all we need is for the crust to cook and the cheese to be melty. And melty to your flavor. I go until there's about 1.5 inches of bubbly darkened cheese around the edges. And then that's when I pull my pizza out. Always cook to your taste and the taste of those who you're cooking for. I know, particularly if you're cooking for small ones, they tend to be a little more finicky about not only bold flavors, but, you know, what the dish looks like. Tends to be a big deal. So, you know, go with what you need to for yours. Maybe you make a kid's pizza that's more plain and you make one for the adults that's, you know, got the different flavors in. The last thing I'm going to do is I go in and sprinkle the Parmesan over everything. And the Parmesan just adds, again, more flavor. It adds a little bit of saltiness, as well as it browns nicely in the oven. So get it on everything if you like it. If you don't like parm, don't use it. I'm using the grated style. You can certainly use the kind that's more shredded if that's what you choose. If you want to get fancy and you have a fresh block and you want to freshly grate that on, go to town. Do what works for you. But this is how I would do up a $3.50 pizza from the grocery before I put it into the oven. And by the way, you can do the same thing if you prefer to, you know, getting just the pizza shell and building your own. You can certainly do that. You have a lot more leeway with that because you're adding your own sauce and cheese as well. So this is more just how to enliven a cheapy pizza. So I'll be back in a few minutes and show you what it looks like when it comes out of the oven. There we are, friends. The pizza is fresh out of the oven. Now the torturous part is to let that sit 5 to 7 minutes to firm up so that you can cut it without everything just sliding off of the slices. And you can see we've let it get crispy on the topping of the cheese about 1.5 inches, 2 inches in from the edge. I also waited until the cheese in the middle not only melted but bubbled a little bit. And that's usually good enough to let the full crust underneath, because we've added a little bit of extra weight to the top that has to cook through with all of the cheese and additional toppings that we've added to the pizza. So it should be cooked out, you know, well enough to support that weight when you pick a slice up in your hand. And I can't wait. 5 to 7 minutes we have to wait. So do try it out. You know, if frozen pizza is your thing, but you want to take it up a notch with flavor, and let me know what you think. Thanks for stopping by today. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.